All right, Steelers Nation, back at it. Week 4 for your recap of the game versus the Colts. I'm going to start off with offense like I normally do, then hit defense, then special teams, and then ended up with my recap of the game. So offensively, what can you say? It was a noon game. We started off slow. We have this happen way too many times where we don't come out ready for early games. Um, you get behind 17-0 to start the game. It's really hard to come back from that. Justin Fields had another phenomenal game. 22 of 34 for 312 with a touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. I can't ask anything more of that. Russell Simmons comes back, or Russell Wilson comes back. I think it's still Justin Fields' team. I don't think you take it away from him. You got to keep building. Arthur Smith has a pretty nice offense built around him, and he's doing a pretty phenomenal job. We did have a couple center quarterback exchanges that went kind of rough, but I mean, you got a new quarterback, a rookie center. It's going to happen. I mean, it's happening too frequently, but they're going to work it out. I have no problem with Zach Frazier. He's been amazing. He's been that franchise center that we've been looking for since Pouncey retired. And I'll take a couple bad snaps here and there. Towards the end of the game, you can't blame that one on him. You can't blame the one on Justin. You can't really blame it on anybody. You got a brand new right guard in there giving the signals. You look at the video, maybe he tapped him, maybe he didn't tap him. It's going to happen. Once this line gets some continuity together, which is going to be rough, we're down a third projected offensive starter. We lost Herbig before the season started. Not really sure if the center job was his or Frazier's, but whatever. And then Fontenot, and now James Daniels with the Achilles tear. So we're going to have a lot of young guys out there, but we draft really well with linemen, obviously outside of center, which has taken us a while to get there. Historically, we're good at that position. But anyways, we'll see what they put together for the offensive line. I assume it's going to be Frazier, Anderson. Hopefully Samalu can get back out there. And then obviously the tackles, we got Broderick Jones and Dan Moore. So it should still be pretty sustainable. As far as the rushing attack goes, Justin Fields was our leading rusher, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Najee Harris had a rough game. 13 for 19 yards. But once again, you got that offensive line, having issues. And you're not used to hitting your spots where you can. Cordell Patterson had a better game than him, but Cordell Patterson's a splash runner, and he can hit holes when he sees them. He's got the speed. Harris more of a developer and following the play type of thing. Receivers, Pickens and Freiermuth had an awesome game. Harris had a good game coming out of the backfield, 3 catches, 54 yards. But we're going to need to get a third established threat. I don't know if you want to keep building these guys. Van Jefferson is basically what he is. You're not going to get anything more out of him. Kelvin Austin has ups and downs. Another young guy, you're going to have to deal with that. I'd like us to go out and try to find a guy. But if this is what we're going to deal with, we got to deal with it. Hopefully Roman Wilson can get out there and play a little bit. And then as we head towards the turnover issues, we had a good drive. Looked like we could have put up 7 to get back in the game, only be down 10 going into halftime. And then, Pickens had that fumble trying to get a few extra yards. Can't blame him on that. And then Justin Fields, lost another fumble on a ridiculous scramble. You gotta get rid of that ball there, kid. We were in field goal range. You got one of the best kickers in there, but that's something we can build on. So that's offensively. Now we'll head into the defense. Nothing spectacular. 2 sacks for the team overall. Started slow again. You can't yield 17 points to begin with. You're averaging less than 10 points a game for the first 3 games, and then just give up 17 right away in the first half like they did. We got to be better equipped for that. Losing Alex Highsmith is big. You don't realize what kind of impact he has on the rushing game, but he's really good at setting the edge and holding the edge, especially when they run his way, and then TJ can fill in behind. Nick Herbig is learning. Obviously, he got hurt as well, so we're going to be thin at that position, the outside linebacker. Hopefully we can, plug and play a few guys in here and there. DeMarvin Leal has been a guy that's, he's primarily an inside rusher, but they've been giving him some run on the outside. Hopefully Herbig's all right, and hopefully Highsmith's groin injury doesn't last too long. but growing for an outside rusher, you need that to be, sustainable and solid. And then as far as the defensive backs, we had the one chance to, I don't know what they got out of the play, but Porter had a pretty easy pick in the end zone that he dropped. I think they only got a field goal out of it, but still, you pick that, you get the momentum coming back our way, and then it looks good. We can go from there. TJ Watt had kind of a quiet game. You're going to see the still shots of him getting held, and that's going to happen. You just got to get in the ref's ear, and hopefully they start to see it towards the end of the game. A couple big ones that you're going to see. That play ended in the drive resulted in a touchdown where he clearly could have had the guy, and another one was a field goal. So hopefully he can have that kind of impact, and we can start to get those calls and kind of go from there. No turnovers. That's another thing. This team, you lose two turnovers and you don't get any. 2-0 advantage there. You're not really going to have too much success, regardless of the offensive makeup of the team. But even this team, who's built heavily on the run, isn't going to be able to overcome that kind of deficit, as well as the 7 points. And special teams, Calvin Austin with a huge punt return. That didn't turn out to be anything because that was the one where Fields lost. It was a ridiculous sack. I don't know how many yards he lost on that. Actually, he lost the ball on that one. That was the fumble, the one fumble that he gave up. But you like to see that out of the young kid. He's got some potential. He's got some splash out there at punt returns. You just got to give him the ball. No kick returns. Once again, with these new rules, they're supposed to induce kickoffs, more kickoff returns. But I don't honestly think we've had one this year. Maybe one, maybe two. Chris Boswell, 101 for field goals at 50-yarder, and then 3 of 3 on extra points. There was a play early in the game where we're at the 40-yard line. I don't understand why we didn't kick the field goal. We punted it. It wasn't even the one where we tried to go for it on 4th and 1 with a shotgun handoff, which that just frustrates me. I hate shotguns on 4th and short. There's no point to that. But anyways, then Corliss Wakeman had a lower average than the past few games. He's been over 50 the first 2 games he's been in town. But he also had, like I said, the one we should have kicked a field goal. I don't understand why we didn't. We were at the 40-yard line, but he got that inside the 20. You got 2 of them inside the 20 out of the 3 punts he had total. So his average looks worse than it actually is. And then overall, we 3-0 when we come into this game. It's a typical, like I said earlier in the video, typical Nooner stinker. Tomlin has these at least once a year. I was at one in Chicago last year. We had it against Houston. Games that we're expected to win and that we end up losing on the road, early games. So we're at the quarter pole, 3-1. I guess it's not the quarter pole anymore with 17 games. But anyways, you get to that point, leading the division, you can't really complain. You can build on that. We are starting to rack up the injuries, but luckily it's early enough in the season where some of those guys can come back. Obviously, the offensive line, all 3 of those guys are out for the season, so that's not going to really come back into play. But we got a lot of young talent there that we can plug in and hopefully, sustain drives with them and, just keep building on Justin Fields. Defensively, the injuries are minor. Obviously, the 2 outside rushers are going to hurt, but they're not going to be out for the year. So that's where we're at with this. We're on to Dallas. It's another winnable game at home. Another thing, as far as the first 4 games go, 3 of them on the road. To be 3-1 with 3 road games, you can't fault that. It's hard to win on the road in the NFL. Not as hard as it is in college, but obviously you get a road win, you're gonna take it. And 2 of our first 3 wins are on the road, and we got some home games coming up. So let's get right with the home cooking and let's go out and take care of the Cowboys.